After 76 days of lockdown, people living in Wuhan, which was the first epicenter of the pandemic, have been given permission to try and return to normality. But for many, it's not that easy to come to terms with what is essentially a new world. And there is still a fear that the virus may not have disappeared completely. To talk about all of this, we have Ji Lu, who joins me now live from Wuhan. He's been stuck in the city since the lockdown began. Ji, we really appreciate you being with us. I think the world looks to Wuhan for a number of reasons. We're all wondering what the recovery looks like, how long we can expect outbreaks in our own countries to continue. But I want to start by asking you what it was like being on lockdown for 76 days, because for a lot of us here who have just been doing it for the last 3 weeks, it feels a lot different.
Yeah, I understand. Oh, thanks very much for contacting me. Well, it's very challenging to say the 76 days, well, even more than 76 days already, has been kind of easy or difficult for me, because in the very beginning, because no one knew this virus before, and it was outbreaking here, so no one knew this virus before. Everyone was in panicking, and everyone was everything was in chaos. So in the very beginning, it's kind of we didn't know what actually happened, and then after 1 or 2 weeks, I think that. Or after more and more, let's say, the research analysis from the government and academics, and then things are getting back to it was supposed to be. I mean, it wasn't getting back to normal, but people they understood it's the virus more and how to deal with it. So everybody just very self-disciplined, just follow the rules issued by the academics and the local government. So I mean, yeah. So well, in the very beginning, it's very difficult, but after we knowing the facts of this virus and how do we deal with it, it's getting slightly easy for us.
Gee, we have changed so many of our habits during this outbreak. We are way more conscious of what we're touching, how close we come into contact with other people. It's changed the way we shop. It's changed the way that we work. How do you think this outbreak, how do you think it's going to leave a lasting impact on the way people live their lives there?
It's also a very difficult question for me to answer, though I'm not quite sure about the rest part of China. I think the lifted date, the so-called recover or the lifted date for Wuhan lockdown, does not reflect the whole picture of China, as the economic of China was getting back to normal, like more than a month ago, more than several weeks ago. But only let's say just. In Wuhan, I think economically, the city is getting back to normal gradually, step by step. Most of my friends, the people I know, they who work in the Wuhan city, are getting back to the work. Most of the shops, including some retailers, some stores, all public transportations are open to the public now. However, back to the question you were saying about the social and the cultural changes. Let's say we're getting back to another normal, that's not like what it used to be. Let's say the old normal has been shifted to a new label on the axis now. So for instance, the older generation who didn't use the public chopsticks began to use them under any cases. Not to mention the younger generation who are happy to do this for the entire time. Before the families but before the families and close friends, it wasn't like that. However, many families, at least my family, even during our family casual dinners, we started to use the public chopsticks since the day one. Another very concise example now, the queue to pick up the deliveries is always long, and with huge gaps between each person, and no one is in a rush. at the moment. Well, kind of the stereotype that Chinese people were busy with making money all the time, but now people tend to slow down and wait. I mean, that's a good sign. So
Xi, I just want to ask you really one more quick
yeah,
question before we have to go. You
sure.
mentioned that people have been a bit more vigilant during this time, even coming
Yeah, of
out of
course.
these
Yeah.
very strict lockdown measures. How worried are you? Is there a level of anxiety about a second outbreak there?
Well, there's always the risk and the potential. The let's call it a second outbreak or the second wave, because both of the academics and the government they're warning, they are warning us again and again. Say they've got some people they didn't get it fully tested or some asymptomatic infections, and then still ask us, well, they don't encourage us to go outside of the city or outside of the Hubei province only if it's necessary. So I mean, if they have this kind of the rules, although it's not compulsory, but I mean, if there's a rule, then we need to follow the rule. Whatever it is, it does make sense, because following the rules is my only way out, and my only way out to survive in the Wuhan city. So I wouldn't say there are large number of people they're infected out there in the Wuhan city, but a low risk does not mean the zero risk, and I don't want to risk my own life, or maybe let's say to jeopardize the lives from the other cities, from the other people, and I want to be responsible for myself and my neighborhood as well.
Well, Jilu, we really appreciate you coming on to share your experience with us and to give us some insight into what is happening in Wuhan, because once again, the world is watching to see how it recovers from all of this. Thanks for being with us.